County View, live and uncut. The man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. Your host, John Arhitis, and of course, the latest and greatest in Hudson County news. There's not a heck of a lot that people are talking about, whether it's Hudson County or all of New Jersey beyond U.S. Senator Bob Menendez and his 3-count federal bribery indictment. He was arraigned in U.S. District Court, that's the Southern District in Manhattan, along with his wife Nadine, and 2 of the 3 businessmen that are accused of getting this corrupt scheme, as the prosecutors called it, going. Now, this is something that took place over several years, but the people that were arraigned today was Bob and Nadine Menendez, and then also Fred Davies and Jose Uribe. Well, Hannah, who owns this halal meat company that we've heard so much about, was in court yesterday, and he pled not guilty. Now, with all that said, this is something that's going to have long-standing implications that go into this June 4th, 2024 primary. So we're going to try to unpack as much of this as possible. But first things first, as you guys know, we got these Mile Square City races. So today my guest is going to be Hoboken 5th Ward Council candidate Liz Urtecho. So we're going to do that and a whole lot more right after this word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John Arhitis. So let's talk a little bit about this indictment. Obviously, pretty much every news broadcaster in the country and beyond has already talked about this, but let me see what I can tell you today. I mean, frankly, there's not a whole heck of a lot of new information, but let's just do a little recap here. Now, one thing that I noticed a lot of people haven't talked about too much. I mean, obviously, it's been a crazy news cycle since Friday morning, and it doesn't seem like it's taken much of a break. But one thing that I think a lot of people have not mentioned all that much, whether it's press or politicians or really anyone in between, is that the U.S. attorney that signed off on this indictment, he actually said on Friday, shortly after it was unsealed, that this investigation is very much ongoing. And he looked right at the camera when he said it, and to me, that's something that's very unique and original. That's not something that you see every day. Now, specifically, this is the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, and he said, in part, I want to make a couple of things very clear. First, my office remains firmly committed to rooting out public corruption without fear or favor, without any regard to partisan politics. And second, this investigation is very much ongoing. We're not done, and I want to encourage anyone with information to come forward and come forward quickly, and they can do that by reaching out to the FBI's tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, not something that I have ever seen personally, and I don't think that's something that happens every day. Now, NBC New York, Jonathan Dietz has been a real superstar on this, in my opinion. I mean, he's been reporting on this case for probably the better part of this year. And a break that he had last night says the FBI is investigating whether or not Central Intelligence from Egypt had anything to do with this bribery scheme. Now, I didn't mention at the top of the program, I'm sure many of you are well aware, but when there was a raid done at this Inglewood Cliffs home in June of 2022, they confiscated over a dozen gold bars. Of course, we've all heard all these memes, and we've seen some other politicians taking pot shots about Gold Bar Bob, that's why. And then, you know, it was over $550,000 cash, a Mercedes, and apparently there was also evidence that mortgage payments were accepted on the home. Now, the thing that makes this very interesting is that Fred Davies, who is the North Jersey developer implicated in all this, his DNA, his fingerprints was found on some of the money. So not sure where that's going to go, but certainly that's not good news if you're a Senator Menendez fan. And as it turns out, that's not as many people as it used to be, but we'll get into that in a moment. Another wrinkle that I think, as some say, is lost in the sauce is there's actually a separate investigation now with the Attorney General's office. The reason being was there was a portion of this indictment that said that there was a government official at the Attorney General's office who was pressured by Senator Menendez, and while he wasn't named, it didn't take very long to figure out who it was, and that was the former New Jersey Attorney General, that was Gubir Graywall. And his successor, or at least one of his successors, the Attorney General, Matt Platkin, has said this is an ongoing investigation, and they take all forms of corruption seriously, and they're going to unpack this. Now, what exactly are we talking about? Well, Jose Uribe, who I just told you was named in the indictment, he's a Union City resident, and he was someone that used to have a car business, and he's accused of having a role in getting this Mercedes-Benz for the Menendezes. So, the conduct alleged in the indictment occurred prior to my tenure as Attorney General and involved a matter that was resolved prior to my time in office. My office has cooperated fully with the Southern District of New York's investigation. We will continue to do so, and we are also engaged in our own independent internal inquiry into the allegations set forth in the indictment. So none of that should surprise you, but specifically what we're talking about regarding the Uribe situation, it says in the indictment that Menendez agreed to, quote, interfere in a New Jersey state criminal prosecution of an associate, and he then contacted a senior state prosecutor at the AG's office, who again was called Official 2. We now know that it was Graywall. Menendez, again, this is according to the indictment, called Official 2 and spoke with him in an attempt through advice and pressure to cause a resolution of the prosecution in the New Jersey defendant's favor. Now, in preparation for the call, Menendez allegedly received and requested text from Nadine Menendez, and of course that's his wife, and Walhada, one of the other businessmen, is also implicated in this as well. Now, Uribe resolved his criminal prosecution, or I should say the associate of Uribe resolved his criminal prosecution with a guilty plea pursuant to a plea agreement that recommended a non-incarceratory sentence. So in other words, this crime he was accused of ended with no jail time. Now, obviously things are not fantastic. If you're Bob Menendez, his fellow Senator Cory Booker's asking him to resign. Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Elizabeth Warren, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the list goes on. We could spend at least a half hour on that. But he did come to Union City on Monday, Hudson County Community College, and he said, I recognize that this will be my biggest fight yet, but as I have stated throughout the whole process, I firmly believe that when all the facts are presented, not only will I be exonerated, but I will still be New Jersey's senior senator. So, he also explained the cash. He basically said, throughout my 30 years, for 30 years, I've withdrawn thousands of dollars in cash from my personal savings account, which I have kept for emergencies and because of my family's history of facing confiscation in Cuba. That may seem old-fashioned, but these were monies drawn from my personal savings account based on my income I have lawfully derided over those 30 years. I look forward to addressing other issues at trial. So there's a whole lot more in this, but right after, we're going to get to my interview, so just hang on for a few moments. We'll be right back.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View, live on Uncut. John Arhaitis. And as I said at the beginning of the whole program, today I'm joined with Hoboken 5th Ward Council candidate Liz Urtecho. Liz, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So fortunately, we are quite topical as much as Bob Menendez is dominating the news cycle. There is other things happening every so often. And one thing that happened at Hudson County Superior Court yesterday was Judge Anthony DeLeon ruled in favor of your group, your nonprofit group that was challenging Blue Violets, and now the planning board approval that happened has been vacated. That was about a year ago. So just first of all, just tell me your thoughts on the decision. Obviously, you're happy, but beyond that.
Well, it's one of those situations where we're thrilled, but it didn't have to get this far. Like, our group went and presented to the planning board a year ago the flaws in the law regarding this case, but we were completely dismissed by the planning board, and then it went to the council, and the residents were dismissed at the council, and then it was approved, and then the only way to solve the matter was to go to court.
All right. Now, certainly we have seen people, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever, online that have said, you know, I would prefer that there's no challenges. Like, I want more dispensaries. Like, why don't we have any dispensaries at Hoboken? The residents spoke in favor. You know, why can't we stop with the reefer madness type of mindset? I mean, I'm sure you've heard this. I mean, what do you say to that kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, I think that we need to rely on some of the information that other communities have already put forth regarding what is best for a density population like ours. Typically, 3 should be the max in the amount of population that we have. We've gone to 6. And in fact, most of the time when I speak to people, the first question they'll ask me is, why are we having 6 dispensaries in a mile square? It's too much. Okay.
Now, you've also spoken out against Story Dispensary previously,
Yes.
and I'm sure your position hasn't changed, but there have been a couple that you've supported too, right?
Yes, so Terrapin, which I believe will be the first cannabis dispensary to open in Hoboken, which is down by the path, Newark Street. They're opening for medicinal to start. We endorsed Jersey Joint, which is up, it's in a redevelopment area up in the Northwest. They're building out their space at this moment. So we've endorsed those 2. Story was controversial. The Blue Violets was across the street from the school, obviously controversial, and broke the laws that we have in place. Village as well broke the laws that we have already have in place. So it's, I think I'm missing one. They just stopped the Harmony. There was just a ruling at the CRB that they're rescinding their license, and I think that's going to go to council to, you know, revoke that license. So.
Right. So I think the point that maybe not everyone has the nuance on is you're not opposed to all dispensaries.
No.
You're just opposed to dispensaries that don't play by the rules. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, we started this journey, I think the town put in regulations that weren't enough. And so they started hearing applications before they put in these common sense ordinances. And what we as an organization wanted was to ensure that those regulations were adhered to. And it seemed that there was a lot of, like, the governing bodies were trying to find a way to skirt some of those rules in order to get some of these dispensaries in.
Okay. Now, beyond this, I mean, I know this is a lot of what people know about your candidacy already. What could you tell us about yourself and why you think you should be the voice for change in the Fifth Ward?
Right. Yeah, so regarding cannabis, it's more of a nuanced issue to many of our constituents. It's not something that's top of mind. I'm running on a platform that I'm the candidate that will listen. We've heard from a number of residents that they feel like they haven't been represented, and I would be that voice, also an independent voice on the council, which people are looking for going forward in this, in our government. So.
Okay. Now, obviously, unfortunately, probably the biggest issue in Hoboken is rat control.
Yes.
And you may have seen that I had Councilwoman Giattino on last week. We spoke at this. So, same line of thinking, questioning. I'd like to hear what your plan looks like, what the city's doing well, what they could be doing better, anything along those lines.
Right. This issue is everybody's issue. Like, so when I door knock, I'm hearing it from 20-year-olds and I'm hearing it from 60-year-olds. We need to deal with the rat issue. So I feel like the town is not, or the city is not going aggressive enough on their reaction to it. I feel like it needs to be an all hands on deck where all avenues of resolving the problem are done together in order to have the highest impact for the community. So right now I think the city is doing what I would call a piecemeal approach. We'll do the lidded garbage cans and then we'll see how it goes there, and then we're gonna go to the streeteries, but even the streetery ordinance has a lot of language in it that doesn't necessarily solve the problem, so.
Okay, so we're gonna take another break. We'll be right back.
Growing up can be tough on kids. So much is going on in the world that can cause depression or anxiety. Unusual behavior for more than 6 months could mean they need help. Don't wait. For real-time mental health support and counseling, call New Jersey's Children's System of Care. CSOC offers free mental health supports, substance use treatment, and services for intellectual or developmental disabilities for all kids up to age 21. Call now, 1-877-652-7624.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panepintodevelopment.com. Panepinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Live Uncut, still John Arhaitis, and still here with Hoboken 5th Ward Council candidate Liz Urtecho. So Liz, now let's talk a little bit also about responsible development. Now, obviously there are some people that think some of these projects in the past few years of the 5th Ward are not getting proper consideration from the council as a whole. I mean, what do you think about what's happening there in terms of building and what it's going to look like in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Well, that's actually an issue key for the 5th Ward, because much of the development is going to happen in the northwest area of the town. What I'm hearing from residents is their biggest concern has to do with infrastructure, traffic, pedestrian safety. And, I think the council needs to be mindful that it's taxing the community and the residents in that area. we're going to have to be very proactive in how we communicate and respond to what's going on in that development area.
Okay, so case-by-case basis, but you would like to see things that fit in with the neighborhood naturally?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are rules, or that we've got the redevelopment plan that kind of outlines what it's going to look like in that area. And I think people are very excited because it is a very industrial flatland up there right now. It's not very pretty. It's not very inviting. And I think most people are excited to see something changed up there.
Okay. Now, more broadly, obviously, there's an incumbent, Phil Cohen. He's supported by the mayor and other people in the administration. And, you know, you saw a letter to the editor. Of course, it's only one person's opinion. But a few weeks ago, and this person said that, you know, Phil's been extremely responsive. He's helped with their rent control issue. You know, happy to call him my council member. Why do you think that that's not the general sentiment of the ward as a whole?
Well, I think Phil picks and chooses who he's going to support. I've heard time and time again that he has dismissed residents' concerns outright. I mean, he dismissed my concern outright, and I supported him in the last election, and here I am running against him. So I think Phil decides what is in the best interest of him to support. Now, that particular issue, of course, I'm happy that he is supporting that. Like, nobody wants to see people's rents go up by 25% or whatever. So what's happening on that front is great. But I don't think he's even-handed with all of the residents.
Fair enough. Now, while we're on this political conversation, of course, I opened with Bob Menendez, and I'm probably going to talk about it a lot more after you leave.
Yeah.
But you're well aware that it appears that the mayor, Ravi Bhalla, is going to challenge Representative Rob Menendez, who, of course, is Bob's son. And this is probably going to cause a fracture in the party if we get to that point. But what do you think of the implications on the local level, just in the mile square city? Like, what do you think of this potential showdown?
Well, I guess I'm not totally surprised that our mayor decided he wanted to jump into the race. I feel like it's always been kind of public knowledge that this was a stepping stone to some other political job. And overall for the city, I mean, I think it's a distraction. We've got a lot of big issues happening in the city. We've got big litigations that need to be resolved. And I don't know where his time's going to be divided in all of this stuff.
Fair enough. Now, with that said, maybe you're, only a council candidate in some people's book, but still, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, should Senator Menendez resign?
Yes. I don't see how he can continue to be an effective senator and still be, have to deal with this litigation or those criminal charges. So, yeah, he needs to. I'm of the mindset that we need to be of the highest ethical standard. If you're in a public office, that is, there's baseline and then there's a higher standard. And I think we should all be operating on that level. And unfortunately, in a lot of political situations, that's not the case. And clearly in this situation, while he's innocent until proven guilty, the ethics around it are definitely not good. He should step down.
All right, fair enough. Liz, just any closing thoughts for the Hoboken 5th Ward voters or anyone else that'll end up watching this program?
Well, I'd say that we're getting a lot of strong and energy around the campaign. There's a big movement to have a change in the 5th Ward. And we're T-minus 6 weeks at this point. So I'm excited to see November 7th. And if anyone is interested in contacting me about our campaign, give me a ring.
All right, Liz, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Pinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Pinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Growing up can be tough on kids. So much is going on in the world that can cause depression or anxiety. Unusual behavior for more than 6 months could mean they need help. Don't wait. For real-time mental health support and counseling, call New Jersey's Children's System of Care. CSOC offers free mental health supports, substance use treatment, and services for intellectual or developmental disabilities for all kids up to age 21. Call now, 1-877-652-7624.
Hudson County View Live Uncut, John Arhitis. So let's unpack a little bit of this potential congressional primary for the 8th District. Now, obviously, the 8th District's been a Latino district for at least as long as I can remember, so a few decades. And the reason being, you have Elizabeth in Union County, you have Newark in Essex County, and you have pretty much all of Hudson County, which includes North Hudson. Obviously, we know that that's North Bergen, Union City, Weehawken, Guttenberg, West New York. So for the whole duration of my career, U.S. Rep. Albio Series was there, of course, until last year when Rob Menendez, of course, the son of Bob, was elected in an enormous plurality. Of course, the fact that his father got him the lines in all those counties, or was at least instrumental in getting him those lines, did not hurt anything. But he didn't have a real serious challenge for that reason. Now, this time around, seemingly out of nowhere, we have the Hoboken Mayor, Ravi Bhalla, coming out and floating the idea of running. And on the heels of that, he comes out and asks Bob to resign. So that was not something that many people had on their scorecard heading into this week, but that's where we are. So I reached out to Mayor Bhalla, and I heard back from a spokesman. That was Rob Horowitz. He said Mayor Bhalla agrees with Governor Murphy that Senator Menendez should resign. So pretty direct, pretty simple. But he's the first mayor to directly say this is what should happen. Of course, Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop, no friend of the Menendez family, has been quite critical of the indictment and of Senator Menendez's service. And he has heavily implied he should resign, but he hasn't used that exact phrase. And interestingly, the only other elected that I have seen in Hudson County call for the resignation is 2nd Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher, and she did that in an email blast on Saturday. So with that, this could be a messy situation for the HCDO. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here. So first of all, the Senate race and the congressional races I mentioned are going to happen concurrently on June 4th, 2024, meaning they're both going to be on the presidential ballot. So whoever is on the line, regardless if you're in Hudson County or Cumberland County, has a really great chance of winning. It's really hard to run off the line at any time of year, but any cycle, but in a presidential cycle, it's going to be a really heavy lift, to put it mildly. Now, we know that U.S. Rep. Andy Kim, who's in the 3rd District, has already announced a challenge to Menendez, and he's already opened an account. Sorry, that's Bob Menendez. And it's been floated that Tammy Murphy, the First Lady, of course, that's the wife of Governor Phil Murphy, has said that, it has been said that she's gotten a lot of calls to run. And interestingly, on this line of thinking, Jersey City Mayor Fulop, who of course is the only gubernatorial candidate at the moment, has said she would be a good senator. He said, every couple years in late September, it seems I do something that helps the Murphys politically. And he's referencing when he endorsed Phil Murphy back at the end of 2016, or at least the last quarter of 2016, when it looked like Fulop was the front runner in that race. And he said, I know social media feeds on critics, but that said, to be fair, if you look at Tammy's work objectively, she has been very engaged in NJ issues, poverty issues, infant mortality issues, disaster recovery. She is competent and would be a good senator. And he also had nice things to say about Andy Kim after he announced. He said that he's got a viable alternative that should not be taken lightly. So this is going to be interesting to see what the HCDO does in these Senate and congressional races. Bob Menendez, again, has been quite adamant, pleaded not guilty today, that he's not going to resign. But it's a long road. I mean, we're 8 to 9 months away. A lot of things could happen. The filing deadline's going to come towards the end of that first quarter in 24. We're going to get a lot of clarity, I think, after the November general. Now, something that has nothing to do with any of this that unfortunately got buried in this news was that the police body camera footage from this fatal shooting on August 27th in Jersey City. That's when a police officer from the Emergency Services Unit fatally shot Andrew Washington, who was a 52-year-old man on Randolph Street, who came at police with a knife after having a mental episode. His family has said that he's suffered from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia since 1996. And if you look at the video, it's a little over a half hour. They're not particularly happy about this situation. Obviously, they've already retained counsel, and they're calling for the release of further body cam footage because they say that there is footage of them speaking to police outside, which shows what they believe, a lack of remorse and a lack of professionalism. Don't forget, in 2011, Washington had police show up at his home and he was shot in the arm. Of course, he lived. This situation ended much differently. And the fact that Mayor Fulop, Public Safety Director Shake came out in defense of the shooting as justified has led to some unrest on the south side of the city. So we'll see what happens with this next. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching Hudson Media Group. Follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.